Competition in TV advertising has always been fierce, but never before have producers turned to artificial intelligence in an attempt to be different, until now. The creative agency The&Partnership programmed a machine to write the world's first AI scripted ad for car maker Lexus. Oscar winner Kevin MacDonald, whose work includes The Last King of Scotland and the Whitney Houston biopic Whitney, directed the filming. When I asked Lexus brand manager Michael Tripp and Sarah Golding, the chief executive of Partnership in London, what attracted Kevin to the project.
Well, first of all, he wasn't going to actually direct the commercial. He was going to be involved in the making of the commercial. But when he saw what the AI produced, he said, I really want to do this. And I think that's when it got really exciting, because it was man and machine together. So let's not forget, the idea itself of coming up with and developing and building this creative AI came from a human being. You know, the creatives within the agency and also the clients. And then the AI incredibly wrote this script. We thought it would go part of the way, but it went the full way. And I think there are a lot of learnings there and a lot of, well, I just call them spooky things that happened along the way. And I think there are interesting learnings for us all in the future. And then when Kevin saw that, I think he was equally taken by how far the machine had taken the script and the type of idea the machine had developed that he wanted to be involved. What was incredible was we fed the AI with lots of different data points, whether that be award-winning commercials from the last 15 years from across the world, through to emotional data points. Then the AI wrote this script explaining everything in there. But what I still find quite dark is the fact that a machine wrote a script about a machine that comes to life. That's dark. Also, the way that the machine oversimplified human emotions. Oh, you know, if you put a child in an advert, the human being watching will cry.
Yeah, as we talked about, interesting, at the expense of logic. I think if you look at the creative, what makes all of us even still a bit uncomfortable is it's not logical. Having a T&P𝑚 craftsman, when a new ES comes off the line, cry, or having televised near crash in a test facility, these aren't logical. And what the AI suggested is that if you overly emphasize the emotional components of creative, it will connect with your audience, and you can almost reduce logic to a secondary consideration, because the creative's not logical, but it's, I think, very emotional. And I think, again, this is what we believe makes it memorable, bringing innovation to life, man and machine. So
the trouble is, there isn't much of a narrative to the advert, is it? I mean, it's just a sort of checklist, you know, kid crying, tick, you know, technician, tick, stunning scenery, tick.
I don't know, Ian. I think I would argue it's a very simple narrative. And maybe one of the arguments when you look at creative is sometimes we get too complex, but the story's pretty clear. You have a craftsman who's releasing his new creation, the all-new Lexus ES, into the world, and then all of a sudden it's a dark moment, something bad's gonna happen. I mean, in our industry, certainly we crash test vehicles. The vehicle's gonna be crash tested, and just before it crashed, the Lexus Safety System Plus, which is underpinned, right, with artificial intelligence, decides, okay, the vehicle's gonna brake, which is, again, the way the technology is designed, and then, of course, the vehicle rides off to the sunset. I mean, I think having a child at the end, we laughed and said the only thing that the AI didn't tell us to include would be a puppy. But ultimately, it was about overemphasizing emotion and telling a very simple innovation story about one component, which in this case was safety.
So does this spell career death for creatives?
Absolutely not. Well, you said it, it's a very odd story. So I think that's incredibly reassuring. I mean, I think the industry will continue to embrace and experiment with new technology, as I said before. But what it shows me is that humans are absolutely needed in the telling of great brand stories. There is a lack of logic to the script that the machine wrote.
But the client loved it.
Well, and this is why Lexus is such a brave client. They said, no, let's be true to the idea in the script. Let's not tinker with it. Let's not add in human logic and tell a different story to make it make more sense. Let's be true to the idea. And that's what I think is so incredibly brave and interesting about it.
Yeah, and I think interesting, because when you say love it, I love that we did it. I love that with our partner, we created it and we put a point of view out there, and that it came up with something coherent. I mean, candidly, there were a lot of nervous moments for us where we committed to this project not knowing what the outcome was going to be. And so I love that we did it. But at the end of the day, whether you like creative or not, I'm more interested in the effectiveness. And so time will tell if we've been able to drive awareness and drive desire for this exciting new ES with this creative. But there's no doubt that we're going to continue to experiment with AI in the creative realm of our business because it's only natural. I mean, if you look at our job as communicators, right message, right time, to the right audience through the right channel. And in most of that world, we already use artificial intelligence. I mean, programmatics and consumer insights. So it's only natural that we look at how we can improve our creative process with man plus machine. And we look at AI as augmenting the creative process, not replacing people.
Well, still to come on Ian King Live.